Hi everybody, Sondra here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in Demetrios grabbing the Game Over Expert achievement. This is going to be the second type of collectible in the game, and it is to get all the different types of game overs. First one is going to be right at the start of the game. What you want to do is you want to interact with this electrical socket. Make sure you pick go ahead and you should shock yourself to death. So you know it's a game over once you get the fade to black and then the casket right here. Sometimes it's not a casket, sometimes you'll lose your hand or the game will end up in like a paradox or something, but no, once you get to that screen you will get the count towards the achievement. Next up, you want to head into the bathroom and then interact with the power outlet twice. It doesn't work until you turn on the faucet, so make sure you do that. By the way, once that faucet turns on, you want to make sure you don't turn it off or else you will miss another achievement. Very key thing that you have to do. Once you head out into the hallway, make sure you take a dip into the elevator. You should fall and then kill yourself. Once you get the lighter from your neighbor, you want to head back inside your room and then you want to use this on the radiator and that should blow up the entire building. Once you're in the police station, what you want to do is you want to head up to the first floor before talking to anyone, and then the guy should stop you. Keep trying and eventually you should get arrested, and this is going to be the first form of a game over where you don't necessarily die, but you'll get arrested and then can't continue. Paradox. Alright, next step is to interact with the potted plant. You just want to pick yes, and then your character should take a whiz on it, and this will actually get you an achievement. So do that, and then once you get arrested for this, that will count another one towards the achievement. Last thing you have to do here is interact with the photocopier, and that should also fulfill the requirements to the last achievement, so do that, and you should also get arrested. Alright, this is when you get the address to go to the archives. Once you're here, you want to use the lighter and interact with this box of bottles right here, and that should blow up the place. Then what you want to do next is you want to talk to the guard. Make sure you ask about Hector, and then he will get insulted, and then you'll die, essentially. And there's the achievement, 10 gamer score. I love to die for dying 10 times. So make sure you do that. Then what you want to do next is you want to use the keys to open up the door, and you want to do this before distracting the guard. So you're supposed to figure out how to distract him, but before you do that, make sure you get the game over by trying to open up the door anyways. Once you finally figure out how to get inside, make sure you open up the window before doing anything. If you leave before doing what you're supposed to do, you are going to get abducted by aliens for some reason. Alright, after grabbing the files you need from the filing cabinet, what you want to do is instead of leaving, you just kind of want to wait here for like 30 seconds, and then after 30 seconds, the guard should come barging in and then arrest you. So knock that one out of the way. Very easy to miss. And then the last one is after you grab the files, you want to leave through the door. You're supposed to leave through the window, however, if you go through the door, the guard is going to arrest you, and then you are going to get another game over. So that one's very missable also. Alright, on to Chapter 2. This is when you're trying to go to Hectors House to get the worm for the worm race achievement, amongst other things. What you want to do is you want to try to knock on the door. This is before you get to the costume you need to distract him. Make sure you go through all the options, and he'll kill you every time. So salesman, survey, journalist, and telling him the truth. All four of those will net you a game over, so make sure you do that, since you need a disguise to get into his house, which is going to be the whole point of the chapter. So make sure you just get this done as soon as possible. Alright, next up we're going to head over to the police department. This is when we're trying to put together the disguise to get into Hector's house. Head up to the first floor and then talk to the inspector. He should leave to take a call. Then what you want to do is you want to try to steal the fingerprint kit. You're supposed to ask the police officer for it. However, if you try to sneak it out, you will get arrested. So make sure you leave as soon as you grab it, and then he'll notice that you stole it, and then you will be arrested. After that, we are going to head over to the fun fair. Lots of things to do here, but make sure you play the Wheel of Fortune game, and if you land on the skull and crossbones, you will get a game over. There is also an achievement for this, so make sure you do this after getting a couple of coins so you can get it, since it's very chance-based. This is after we get the jar from the antique shop to get the honey. What you want to do is you want to go over to the fishing hole, and you want to use the jar on the beehive before smoking it. So do that, and then you should get stung to death. Next one, this is towards the end of the chapter when we can finally have the access to Hector's house after grabbing the disguise. Once you're in here, activate the bottles on the bottom shelf, and you'll notice that it's really strong alcohol, and you want to keep drinking until you die of alcohol poisoning, which should take, I believe, 3 or 4 drinks, and then eventually you should black out. Alright, start of the next chapter. This is when you are in the hotel. I believe this is chapter 3. So, which one of these? You want to head up to room 204, and then you're going to meet this guy who's been poisoned, and he's going to ask for your help. What you want to do is you want to pick no when he asks you for help, and then the game will end in a paradox, and you will instantly regret it because the game will kill you by having you fall down the stairs. So, after you get that game over, we're going to head downstairs. Don't talk to the bartender just yet. Make sure you leave the bar. Since you don't have a map, you are going to get lost, essentially, and then end up in another paradox where the game turns into, like, this version, a child's drawing, basically. We're going to head over to the Bazaar. This is when we're trying to put together the ingredients to build the cure to the man's poison. Interact with this snake by this basket right here. If you keep touching him, the snake will bite you, and you will get poisoned to death, obviously. Alright, next up, you are going to head inside, and then which one do you want to interact with the grapes? You will try to steal one, and then the merchant will cut your hand off, and that's another form of game over. After that, we're going to head over to the excavation dig site. There's going to be a gaping hole here. Make sure you just jump into it. So do that, and you should die. The game's going to ask you to confirm twice. Make sure you do that. And then this is when we are trying to juice the thing that we need to make the antidote for the man's poison. Turn on the juicer and then just stick your hand in the blades, and then that should cut your hand off as well. Alright, start of chapter 4, I believe. This is when we need to go to the pond to get the crowbar back. Basically, we want to pick the plant that's in the lower left-hand corner. It should be the one with the red flowers. Once you have this, you want to go back to the underground bazaar, talk to Arab. He should ask you to kill the sorcerer. Normally, you're supposed to take the plant and then juice it, but if you try to stick the plant in the sorcerer's cup whole, you will get an achievement as well as another type of game over. So make sure you do that, and then Arab will kill you because you're so stupid. But anyways, we're going to head back to grab that crowbar that we used to fish out the piranha for the potion. Head to the museum. Once you're in here, you want to use the crowbar on the vase we need. So just do that. This is before you try to turn off the alarm. You will basically break the vase, and then you'll set off the alarm, and then the museum guards are going to arrest you. After that, what you want to do is you want to try to break open the case the normal way. Use the screwdriver to open up the electrical panel. Then what you want to do is you want to use the screwdriver on the actual electric bit, and then that should shock you to death before cutting anything. So do that. And then the last step is you want to do the same thing. Grab the screwdriver, open up the panel, but this time you want to use the scissors we got. You're supposed to cut the 2 middle wires. However, if you cut the top wire, that will cut the power, and then the lights are going to shut off, and then we are going to get arrested by the guards once more. Alright, next you're supposed to go to the bar to give the medallion to Arab, but instead, when you talk to him, just give him the crowbar instead. You should challenge him to like a sword fight. He's going to pull out a gun on you, Indiana Jones style, and then he's just going to shoot you, and then of course you will die from that. Next up, we are going to head back to the museum. This is when we need to go grab the one dude. He's going to ask for your help. Make sure you pick the 5 you shall lay, which is something about the tablets or something. And then when he asks you for help, just pick no when you are trying to accept the quest, and the game will end in a paradox, as you can see. Once you do the right thing you're supposed to do, you'll get the address to the hideout. Once you're here, knock on the door, and then when it says hide, you pick no, and then the bad guy's going to come out and just shoot you. This should be about the halfway point, so you should pop the achievement. This is going to be for 0 gamer score, unfortunately. However, you do need it for the completion, so keep that in mind. Next up, what you want to do is you want to head into the truck. This is when you need the shears to cut down the fingers to fix the ladder. Instead of doing that, interact with the lever, and that should start the truck, and then you will die in a car crash. Then, once you fix the ladder, climb up onto the roof. Lots of ways to die up here. First up, use the crowbar on the satellite dish. That should alert the guys over, and then they should shoot you down. And then the next step is to use the lighter on the barrels of gasoline up here, and that should blow up the building as well as ourselves. And then the next step is to go down the chimney. Click on the chimney, hit get into the chimney, and you should get stuck and then eventually starve to death here. And then the final death is actually related to another achievement, so just go right and just keep going right until you get to the edge of the roof, and then your character should fall off. So that one's pretty easy. So we're going to start the next chapter. This is chapter 5. This is when we are in the interrogation room. So the guy's going to bust in. What you want to do is you want to go through all of this stuff. So first tell him the truth, and then he should shoot you. Skip insult him, because that's what you're supposed to tell him, and then make sure you just make up a story and then feign amnesia for the other two. And then he should shoot you for both of those, and each of them counts as their own game over. Alright, Carolyn shows up in the window, and then you're supposed to talk to her, and then she's going to help you out. Bernard's going to bust in and then ask you who you're talking to. Make sure you denounce her, and then she should shoot her, and that will end in a game over paradox. So, once you figure out all that stuff, and then she's willing to help you out, make sure you talk to her, then you're going to give her an escape plan. Make sure you go through all of these. So, first one is play sick, then you should throw up on the guy, and then he should shoot you. Then you want to make her scream, so she should scream, and then he'll shoot her, because he hurt her, obviously. Call for help, she'll leave for help, and then she'll take too long to get back, and then you'll get shot, of course. And then the final one is give me the bomb, which she gives you a bomb, and then it blows up the building, and yourself too. So that's going to be it. Obviously, you want to start the truck for last. Alright, next one, you want to interact with the light bulb when the light on the left is off. That way you can shut it off. Interact with the door and then tell the guy about the light bulb. He should come in to fix it. Then you're supposed to steal the keys from him, but what you want to do is you want to use the knife that Carolyn gave you, and you want to interact with his upper body, and that should stab him, and then he should shoot you as a reflex. Then you're supposed to steal the keys. What you want to do instead is you want to grab anywhere else on his body, and then he should shoot you. And then try to grab the keys again, but this time once you grab the keys, you want to drop them. So you use the left stick to steer your arm, you hit X to grip, and then what you want to do is you want to ungrip it, and then drop the keys on the floor, and then of course he should shoot you for stealing his keys. And that's going to be it for that chapter. Chapter 6, this is a very missable one since it's very multifaceted. Make sure you save the game here in a manual save slot. Once you do that, talk to Carolyn. You need to talk to her a total of 3 times, so just keep going through the first option. Eventually, she should show you her pet scorpion, and it will sting you. And you can either choose to kill yourself right here, or you can wait until the poison gets you. Both ways count towards the achievement, so make sure you do both. First one is stay calm and kill yourself, so do that, and then you will die, and then that's the first game over, and then the game will end in a paradox. Then make sure you load up that game we saved. The game keeps track of the game's overs on the master save, so don't worry about losing your save or anything. Make sure you talk to Carolyn again, but this time when the scorpion stings you, pretend nothing happens and pick yes, continue. The poison will get you later on in the story, so make sure you keep note of this. And then after that, what you want to do is you want to talk to Sondra. When you talk to her, you want to pick dig here, so pick start digging, and then she's going to ask you where. What you want to do is, once you get the map, you want to dig on anywhere on the bottom row. So just move the cursor down to the bottom row of squares, pick any square, and then basically you'll die trying to dig all day or something. Alright, once you find the place to dig, you should be in the puzzle room. First puzzle room, you want to interact with the console on the left. Just press 1 on both of the rows of buttons, and that should open up a trapdoor, and you will die. So that's the first puzzle room. Once you figure out that puzzle and get into the second puzzle room, you're going to have this memory game. Click on the memory game, press the button. It's going to give you flashes, and you're supposed to repeat them, like Simon. But instead of doing that, press any other button, and then you will activate another trapdoor, obviously. And then finally, puzzle room 3, you're going to have this turning thing right here. You want to make sure you turn the dial 3 times to the right, and that should activate another trapdoor, killing you. So you're going to have this room. This is the last puzzle room. What you want to do is you just want to wait on the first panel, and it should fall, and of course you will die. And then the second death here is solve the puzzle until you get one of those false panels, the ones with the X, and just click on that, and you should fall down. Alright, once you get to the last room, you should be interrupted by the bad guy. He's going to stick you up. This is another thing where you have to go through everything. Make sure you talk to him, and then he should shoot you. Make sure you attack him, he should shoot you, and then make sure you try to take his gun, and he should shoot you. The appropriate answer is wait for a miracle, so save that one for last. Alright, after that, another bad guy is going to hold you up. This time you're going to switch over to Sondra, so make sure you pick exit when he asks you the question, and then you should get shot, or your other player should get shot, I guess. But anyways, you are going to control Sondra. You're supposed to shoot the guy. Instead, you want to shoot anywhere other than D2, so just shoot in like the margin, and then you should get a game over because you have one shot apparently. Next step, you want to shoot Bjorn, so just shoot him, and then you shot the wrong person, and then that's the second one. And then the third step, you want to do what you're supposed to do and shoot the guy. However, the scorpion poison from earlier is going to take effect, and you should get a game over anyways. This one you can continue from, so you don't end up in a paradox, which is good. So it just skips you past this one part since you can't get past it any other way. Once you're here, what you want to do is you want to interact with the microphone. This is in the treasure room. You want to make sure you pick the say command, and you want to type in crap. This will give you another achievement, by the way, and it's going to be the recurring joke of the game. So do that, and then the temple should explode or something. And then the final deaths are going to be once you try to escape the treasure room, there's going to be a bomb. You get a countdown, let that countdown go down to 0, and then the bomb exploded because you took too long to think of something. Next one, you want to try to get the treasure. You are going to try to pick up stuff, and then you will die in your greed. And then you want to try to defuse the bomb. You'll cut the wrong wire, and then you'll blow up the temple. So you're supposed to run away, but that's actually going to be the last death. And there's the achievement. It's going to be for 0 gamer score. However, you do need it for the completion once again. And that's all there is to it.